I'm Kendra Douglas, Brandon Douglas' wife.
I'm Brandon Douglas, and it all started. Kendra and I got married in December of 2004. I've been very selfish and not the husband I should be for most of our marriage, which in turn led me to an emotional affair in the year of 2019.
Our marriage it's been very difficult, honestly. The majority of the time, it's just been a hard marriage. We started going to church around the time that our first son was born, and started doing the Christian thing, or as much of it as what we thought. But as the years went on and our marriage got harder, it just got harder. Things like that just kind of brought me to my knees, and I think it all came to a head in 2019, where it just was the worst year of our entire marriage. So I just committed to praying. I just thought I'm just gonna read my Bible. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna lean in. I'm gonna do all the things that I was told to do and check off all of the boxes, and God's gonna fix it. He's gonna turn around and then everything's just gonna work. But it seemed like the more I did those things, the worse our marriage got. But I told myself I'd had this book of prayers, that I was going to pray for Brandon, because in my mind, he was my enemy and I was going to pray for my enemy. And it was 30 days of prayers, and I was going to pray them not 30 days, but 90 days, because God had to answer me, because I was going above and beyond what the book said I needed to do. So I'd go in my closet and I'd have tally marks on the wall, and I'm praying for him. And by about day 18 or 19, we had this huge blow up where I took the kids and left and went to my mom's house, and we said, you know what, this is it. We're getting a divorce, and all of those things. It was a horrible, horrible night. And I remember crying to my sister. I was like, I've been praying for him for 18 days. And she's looking at me like, 18 days? Like, you got to keep going. And anyway, my mom ended up sending me back home, because she said, well, what's going on in your house? Is it infidelity? Or is anybody in danger? I'm like, no, we can't get along. I can't figure this out. So she said, well, I think you should calm down first and get yourself together and go back home. Y'all got to work this thing out. So I did. I packed the kids up and come back home, and Brandon is unbothered when we come home, to say the least. He doesn't seem like he's missed a beat. And so after a couple of months of that, I said, okay, Lord, something in me, I just come to terms with the fact that maybe this was going to be my marriage. Maybe this is my lot in life, and I'm just going to have to deal with it. I said, okay, I can't find my happiness from him. I can't be perfect enough to be in this marriage and be okay. I love raising kids. I love being a mom, but they're eventually going to grow up. I'm not going to be able to find my happiness and my joy in anything that I have. So I said, Lord, just give me you. Just if you'll just give me you, and let me find my joy and my peace in you, and let me be loved by you and feel your love. That's all I want. Whether you fix the marriage or whether you don't. I was throwing my hands up in surrender and just saying, this is what it would be, but just give me you. All of this is going on while my life at home, nothing's changed. It's still bad.
The height of the affair, I'd say September, October, November of last year. And that's where the intensity of the relationship that I had outside of my marriage grew. In my prayer journal is pretty much my life with God is non-existent. I'd say in March of 2019 is when I just turned my relationship with God off. So fast forward to February of 2020, February 28th. I'll remember that day forever. As the date that my wife learned of my affair. She had been buying groceries and noticed that I had purchased some condoms.
Now, mind you, we had problems through the years, but infidelity was not one of them. So he really could have told me anything. He could have explained those away, and I would have completely believed it.
And she called me and said, "What's going on?" And my immediate reply in foolishness was, "It's not what you think." And again, it was an emotional affair. Nothing really became physical, even though that action certainly shows that my intent was there.
He just started saying, "It's not what you think, it's not what you think." And when he said that, then I knew. And I was just, it's like somebody hit me in the face with a 2x4. I was stunned. Because we were a lot of things, but we weren't adulterers, you know. But there we were. And I was angry, and I yelled, and I screamed, and I said things that I never should have said. Words I wish I could take back.
We agreed to separate for, I think it was about 6-7 weeks. And some friends of ours very graciously took me in and allowed me to stay out at their farm, and stayed in the RV that they had for about 7 weeks.
During that time, I started pastor care with the church, and he was doing it too. And during that time, I don't know, I don't know, like the Lord just started to work on both of us.
God started taking over.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it for me personally was me not trying to control my relationship with God.
We knew we wanted to save our marriage. We knew we didn't want a divorce. He came from a broken home. I did, and we knew we didn't want that for the kids.
As I was staying out here at the farm, I think that's when I actually, for the first time, had a repentant heart towards Christ, or about the actions I've taken. And I was able to spend some serious one-on-one time with God. And I remember reading Psalm 51, and that's when I think God just brought me to my knees in order to repent for the first time of what I've done, from other things that I've done in my marriage.
For me, the biggest thing was, how could I ever forgive him? I didn't know what that meant or what that was going to look like. I just couldn't picture me not waking up every single day and thinking about this and thinking about that woman for the rest of my life. I couldn't. I just couldn't. It seemed impossible. And I remember getting frustrated during one of my sessions with the counselor, because we're talking about forgiveness and we're reading it in the Bible. And I'm like, I hear what it says. I get that I'm to do that, but how? I'm being asked to do something impossible. And I kind of was like, Lord, why would you ask me to do that? I don't know how to do it. I would do it. I don't know how to do it. And the good news is that I didn't have to do it. I wasn't gonna have to do it. And I didn't understand it at the time, but what eventually happened was the Lord did it. The Lord did it in such a way that I was asked the other day, was hard to forgive. And I said, no, actually, I know that sounds crazy, but when somebody's doing it for you, it's not. Like, he did it. He did all the work in me and through me.
I'm very thankful for my wife and how she prayed for me through the year 2019, because I didn't deserve it. But she did. And because I certainly wasn't praying for anyone, not even myself. And but I've been able to see the fruit in 2020, and God in his grace and his mercy has been unbelievable. As we agreed to move back in on Easter Sunday, we wanted to surprise the kids. And so they were surprised. So we moved back in April 20, and God has worked, I think, a miracle in my heart in transforming me in the way that I view marriage, my relationship with Him. I think deep down I just always saw myself as a nice guy. I believe it's called good guy syndrome, but not an evil-hearted sinner desperately in need for the saving grace of Jesus Christ.
With this thing, I hate to say it like this, but for what we got out of it, I'm glad that I'm grateful for the experience. I wouldn't go back and undo 2019 or any of it, because what we came out of it with, just a closeness to God and just an awareness that we are some sinners. We are dirty and disgusting, and I don't know how the Lord puts up with us, but He does, because He's merciful, and it just makes me want to praise Him more.
So without, like Kendra said, God allowing me to go as far into sin as I possibly could, I believe without God doing that, we would be divorced. I would be desperately seeking satisfaction for myself through people, my job. Oh my gosh, my job. And then constantly looking for comfort.
And right now, it's sweet and we're enjoying it. We don't expect it. I don't expect it to be sweet. Honestly, I was a hot mess last 2 weeks. That's life. We argue. It's different though. It's not like before. No, he's like an ally now. He's like an ally. Like, we both know what it is, and we'll both go and pray, and he'll pray for me. And I can tell when I'm getting on his nerves, he's a little snippety sometimes, but it's so different. It's so different because I feel like he loves God and he loves me, and it comes through even when we need some time away from each other. It's just different. I want people to know that God is sovereign in everything. This story, I could tell it, I could talk hours just about the different parts where I thought nothing was happening, or things that I thought were insignificant that God took and he used for his story. This is his story, and he just let us be a part of it. But this was about him and showing who he was and bringing glory to him, and that he will have his way. And it didn't matter if I turned to the right or to the left, or if I got it right or if I got it wrong. He just curved the path and just led it all directly to him. More than anything with this story, I just want to honor God with it. I just want people to know that he is in complete control, and that the suffering, because it's been suffering, that it was a gift. He granted it to us. And it's something we say thank you for, because of what he let it do, what he allowed it to do in us and in our home. And I wouldn't change it for anything. I wouldn't undo a thing.